Good morning and happy Tuesday. I had total plans to trade yesterday, but had a lot of things come up. I did look at a few of the spaces, but man, it was like I was looking to take a few entries and it just shot in a direction where I couldn't even catch it. So you know what I did? Nothing. Which happens a lot of days, and that's absolutely fine. Today, I'm going to have a friend here. She's going to be here a little bit later. She is just looking at getting started. This is a friend that I've had for almost 10 years, and she's thinking about trading. So she's going to come sit next to me today and learn a little bit, which is going to be interesting because maybe I'll be able to put a little bit more into what's happening, talk a little bit more in depth about it since I'm going to have someone sitting right next to me. She should be here in the next 30 minutes or so. So let's talk a little bit about what is going on. What's going on? Let's bring up our handy dandy daily chart. Okay. Sunday, I was speaking with a student, and we did a session on Sunday, talked a lot about this little area right here, that even though these bars are pushing down hard, these extreme bars on the, the daily chart, don't work quite the same as your smaller charts. The extreme bars, a lot of times when you have stuff like divergences happening here, they're a very good sign that it's going to turn around. So it does. It pulls back. This so far is an extreme weak pullback. Look what's happened. This was all day yesterday. Okay, it had a strong push, but here's all we could do. This was overnight, I think. Yeah, that was overnight. So this is what happened yesterday. I would not call this a strong push-up. Look at this major divergence. What does that divergence tell us? More possibilities to the downside. Now, as we continue with that thought process, we've started with our largest chart. We're going to work our way down. So we're back onto this one. We're going to spread this out just a wee bit so we can really look at what's happening here. Look at this strong push down, weak retracement, fairly strong push down. Now, this normally would tell us that we'd be bouncing off this area and continue to the upside, especially now that we have rolled these EMAs over. But look what's really happening right here for the last, week or so. We're just bouncing back and forth between these areas. Yes, it went up kind of close towards 2700, right there in between, probably 2690 area, but nothing was really happening with that. What was happening was the fact that just happened overnight. It just pushed that little bit overnight, gave us some really good divergence to tell us this is going to have the possibility to push down. Now, already on my 4181, I have changed the direction, or the price has changed the direction to the downside. We've gotten back below the EMAs, back below the zero line, but right back into some divergence. So we might see a little bit of a wedge between these areas. Our EMAs have stayed open here, but what we may really see happening is a little bit of a pullback and pushes back to the downside. I don't like to make judgment. I want to watch and see what happens. So we pulled through here, pulling back, we pulled through here. The spot to pull back to would be right in this. Let me grab this. There we go. Right in this area, which you can see, we've got the EMAs of the 4181, the 1597. You can see the 610 lining up with that just a little bit. Although we've already hit our first EMA, it doesn't have a ton of strength to push it down. It's kind of weak, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. If this is going to give us moves back to the upside, get back above these EMAs, pull back into it, continue pushing up. So we still have about 10 minutes before the market opens. I am going to go grab my breakfast downstairs, unlock the front door, get ready for a party here. One last thing that I want to mention, actually, that will give us the indication that this is pushed back a little bit. What we look at is something that I call snapbacks. Snapbacks is how far we pull away from the EMA and it snaps back to it. It may hit that EMA. but it doesn't typically stop there when you have a snapback. It typically continues to push through. So here we pulled away. The EMAs didn't push down with it. It snaps back. It doesn't just stop here. It pulls back and continues up. Whoa, big pull away, snap back. Doesn't just stop there, pulls down and continues down. So here we're seeing the same scenario. Big V pivot, big snap back. Especially with this little bit of divergence, or not a little bit, we've got a pretty decent divergence here between these pivots. So whenever this snaps back, do we anticipate it to just stop on a dime when it hits the first area? The first area would have been right here on the 233, didn't stop, kept going. Next area would be this next EMA. You can see it's the same EMA on both charts. Does that a sneeze attack? Woo! We're going to edit that out. But it hits this first area, it doesn't stop, right? So this 233 small EMA. So it pulls into the 233 large EMA, which is the 610 small EMA. Doesn't stop there. Shows strength and momentum to the upside and keeps going. The MACDs are showing strength up. Woo! I need a tissue, which I'll grab in just a moment. Oh, excuse me. Then it gets to this next area. So the next area is the large EMA on the 610, the small on the 1597. When it gets up there, now it's getting close to the zero line, so it might give us a little bit of a bounce down from here. You do have a touch of divergence on the 233, no divergence yet on the 610. MACD still showing some strength up on all the charts except for my 10946. So the 10946, if this stays angled down, what we'll be seeing is just a little pullback and a roll off of here, which will show just a very small movement in the MACDs here, and then a continuation in the push down. It may come and roll off the zero line here. I don't like to talk about what it may do. What I like to talk about is what is happening. All right, so I'm going to pause this, grab my breakfast, and I will be back. All right, let's get this party started. I'm still waiting on my friend to get here. Another divergence. Yeah, pushing this up. This is what we anticipated. They're here. All right, back to pause. All right, guys. So I have a friend here, Esther. Say hello, Esther.
Hello.
Esther is just thinking about getting started. Esther and I have been friends for 8 years. Yeah, around 8 years. And I think this is in screen down here. I think it shows up down here, but Esther and I have been friends for 8 years. She's been in the medical field for a little while, and she's thinking about getting out of it and coming over to trading. So we're going to sit here and chit-chat a little bit. She doesn't have a whole lot of insight, so we're just going to talk about the basics as it's happening. And this one will definitely be going in the vault today. So we have a few things to take care of, so it'll probably be about another 30 minutes, although here's exactly what we had discussed a little while ago. It hit the area, it pulled back, the MACD is pushed up, and now it's pushing back up through the area. We have back above everything on the biggest tick chart, the 10946, just the slow and roll, the divergences. Do we think this is going to go up forever? Probably not. We're going to have to watch these areas. We've got a little bit of a wedge kicking here, so we're just going to watch it and come back to it shortly. Okay, so Esther and I have been sitting here discussing, and you know, we may move this over to simulation today, because we've been sitting here really discussing what each chart is and explaining that each bar on here is 10,946 ticks, and that each bar on here is 4,181, and the importance of Fibonacci and things to that nature, and how when we look at this large EMA on the 233 tick chart, it is the small EMA on the 610 tick chart, and how we specifically skipped a number between the 233 and the 610 to have a better view of everything. So, and also how everything is connected. So how we're skipping this number between the 233 and the 610, yet this large EMA is the small EMA here. So having all these charts connected is extremely important because you're able to have a better flow. One of the things that I was discussing with one of my students recently who was struggling a little bit, he had charts just spread out all over the place. He had a 1597 here and a 4181 over here and the 233 tucked off on the side. And we need to read this like a book. The first chart that we look at is going to be that daily chart. We already looked through that, but that daily chart is our biggest chart. That's our first chapter of the book. And then we move to the 10946, the 4181, the 1597, so on and so forth. The 233 is like reading, really getting in and reading the fine print. We don't need to read the fine print of every book. We can get the gist by looking over everything. We don't need to have the little notes on the side to say everything with the 233, but it will help us if we really need to break things down and really when it comes to the entry of the trades. This did give a nice little pullback right into here with close towards the top as it was breaking the top Bollinger Band here, which was in direct correlation with rolling off the zero line to the upside, having a nice little roll right here. Obviously, we're not in that one, which is okay with me. We're going to be doing a little bit more discussion and coming back to things, and I'll tell you all the things that we discussed as we're going through it. Right now, I'm looking at the fact that the 1597, which is our trading chart, is starting to cross over to the upside. The 4181, which is like our backup trading chart, didn't even open to the downside with the EMAs and is starting to cross up. I feel like I should be in this one, but it's got a little space to pull back still. Popping down kind of hard.
You said it stopped you out?
Yeah. I took my exit. Which means we took a loss on that one. Okay. So what I'm looking at here is these are still pushing down hard, so I may want to wait. This is the spot. Ooh, push down super hard off of there. It's funny, I knew better than to take the trade here, right here, because of this. But I did it because of I think because we've sat so long and waited.
I thought that's why you did it.
Yeah.
I was going to say, don't make the jump if you really don't feel it.
True.
I wasn't there yet either, you know.
You weren't there yet?
I didn't.
You felt like it was too strong against it?
I didn't feel like it was strong.
Yeah. Oh, no, against it.
Against it.
Yeah.
Not strong.
So what about here? No?
Not yet. I don't know. I don't know how to...
What do you feel like would make it yet? My thought process is short because it looks like it's giving an area for another push down, but really we want to wait just a minute here. We got a higher pivot in both the price and the MACDs. That short is done for. It's been a very busy morning for me, so I'd planned to do this in Sim, but I just went ahead and went with it. Oh my god, can I get into this before it takes off? That is the question. Let's go now. See if it'll pull back and grab me and get me right behind here. There we go. It's not going to be in a great area. Let's see if it doesn't stop me out. It might, because I chased this one a little since I had a call come in real quick. The real spot was back here as it was moving up. Pushing up at the 0 line. Go ahead and take an exit here. So it gave the possibility for a little bit of a pullback right as we're at the 0 line here. We have kept pushing through the 0 line every time. I want to go ahead and do that. So we can see I took a little bit of a premature exit. That's okay though. Today has been a very tough day for me. Only at 2.25 right now after 4 trades. So 2 wins, 2 losses, 2 1/4. Not the best, but I'd rather be positive than anything. Let's see, we'll turn these on real quick so we can just take a peek-sees at them. I don't know if any of you guys have ever traded and spoken with people at the same time, but it is not easy. Alright, so I went a little premature on the long here. Then we went short, took the exit, took a little bit of a profit there. Took the long a little too early, and then right back in right here. So it did push up a lot higher, and I can't wait to show this to Esther just a little bit later on. Let me turn these off. I leave these off because they get in the way. We start to see things that that aren't there because we're looking at that little spot. So yeah, I mean, I know this says it could continue up, but Lord, it just keeps pulling up into this spot and pushing down, which means it's creating that space. It's wedging it in tighter and tighter. So these on, let's see. Four trades, 2 wins, 2 loss, plus 2.25. Not my best day, but hey, better than nothing. So you can see that someone who is a total novice beginner, like Esther's never seen a chart a day in her life before, and the idea is very simple. The execution can be tough just because you have to trust yourself to do the right thing. So we're going to go ahead and shut this down, and if you have any questions, we'll just go from there. Hope everybody has a wonderful week, and I will catch y'all on the profitable side.